Jane and the Not a Lizard. That night, Sam did not sleep well. Phoebe was restless and kept licking her painful bite. The noise and worrying about her kept Sam awake. The next morning, the wound looked bigger and angrier. "I think Phoebe needs to go to the vet. Her leg looks really sore," Sam said anxiously to his mother as he stirred his cereal. She was licking it the whole entire night. "Okay, I'll take a look and try to get a morning appointment if I think she needs it. Luckily, today is Dr. Rousseau's clinic day." Being a country vet, Dr. Rousseau spent much of his time travelling to see his clients in their fields or barns. "It'll have to be in the morning, though, if it's going to happen today," his mother said, measuring 3 cups of flour into the bread maker. "Don't forget that Jane and Auntie Sue are arriving today. They left Cape Town yesterday," she added happily. "Oh!" Sam looked horrified. The complications involved in juggling his cousinly and dinosaurian duties whirled around his head. "I did tell you a few days ago, actually," his mother said, looking puzzled at his dismay. He usually enjoyed his cousin's visits as much as she enjoyed having a sister to stay. "Oh," Sam said again. Now he thought about it. He did vaguely remember his mother mentioning Jane's impending visit, but he'd been so preoccupied he hadn't really listened. His mother went to take a look at Phoebe, who, most unlike herself, was still sleeping, not waiting under the table, hoping for crumbs and other yummy fallout. "I think she's got an infection," she confirmed a minute later. "It's most unusual for a bite to get so bad so fast. I wonder what on earth bit her. I'll phone Dr. Rousseau and make an appointment now." She made one for just over an hour later, so they had to grab Phoebe and set off straight away as the vet lived a good 50 minutes away. Phoebe loathed going to the vet and refused to leave the car when they parked outside, recognizing it as the horrid place she'd been taken when she got tick bite fever. "Come on, Phoebes," Sam said, picking her up and carrying her in. "We have to sort out that bite." Dr. Rousseau cleaned Phoebe's wound, gave her an antibiotic injection, and handed Sam some tablets in a plastic bag labelled "Phoebe Nell, 1 daily for 7 days. "That should sort her out," he said kindly, giving Phoebe a pat on the head. Phoebe's lip lifted in an unappreciative snarl, revealing tiny white teeth. Dr. Rousseau laughed. "She's a feisty little one. Bring her back in a week, otherwise call me if it gets any worse." When they got home, Auntie Sue's car was in the driveway. Sam looked round anxiously to see if he could see Peter, so that he could tell them that he should sort out Sunny and to keep her well away from the house. He would not be able to leave Jane alone. Peter and Maylie were, however, nowhere to be seen, and there was no chance of sneaking off quickly to tell them of the change in circumstances as Jane came running out of the house. Sam felt guilty, as he was too worried about the Sunny situation to return Jane's happy greeting or to concentrate properly on what she was saying. He kept wondering if Sunny was being properly supervised and what she was up to. Jane, on the other hand, was thrilled to see him and full of news. The two of them sat on the stoep, drinking tea and dunking his mother's delicious buttermilk rusk biscuits. "Where are Peter and Maylie? What have you guys been doing? I bought her some things for her dolls. She's going to love them." They're somewhere around," Sam said vaguely. "We've just been for walks and stuff. Oh, and we found a fossil on the hill." "Really? That's amazing," Jane said. "What sort? What are you going to do?" "Do?" "Yes. Are you going to tell someone at the museum or something?" Yes, I guess we will. We haven't told anyone yet. I don't know why." He tailed off. A loud clucking and commotion was drawing his attention to the far right of the house, by the chicken coop. He could see Chicky and his ladies running up and down in a panic. His eye caught something brown moving at the far side of the coop. He squinted. What the heck? Oh, no! He leaped to his feet, shouting to Jane to "Stay there, I'll be back now," as he raced towards the chickens. Poor Chicky and the girls! Thank goodness the coop was strong, fortified against the many Karoo predators that fancied a juicy chicken for dinner. By the time Sam reached the coop, there was a terrible cacophony, and the panicked hens were flapping up and down in great distress. Running up and down one side of their pen was Sunny, her eyes focused greedily on the frightened birds. "Sunny, Sunny, no!" Sam managed to grab her by running in the opposite direction to the one she was going. She seemed to be confused by the fence and would run to one corner of the coop, then turn around and run back the same side to the other corner, then up, then back, all the time hungrily watching her would-be prey with unblinking orange eyes. "No, Sonny," Sam said again, terribly flustered, his heart pounding. He held her by the scruff of his neck, keeping away from her mouth, and at the same time stroking her head to try to calm her. "Shut up!" she screeched indignantly. "What the heck is that?" Sam swung around and felt an instant of faintness. It was Jane, her mouth hanging open as she stared in disbelief at Sonny. He started to walk away, half dragging, half carrying Sonny, trying to think what to say. His priority was to get Sonny away from the chickens and the farm. Jane had to jog to keep up. She was 10, but small for her age. "What is it?" she asked faintly but persistently. "It's a kind of a rare lizard that we found," he said after several seconds of silence. "A lizard?" Jane's tone was a mixture of bewilderment and disbelief. There was a long silence as they walked along the dirt track. Sonny wriggled and tried to nip Sam. He put her down and she showed her first good behavior of the day, walking nicely beside him as they headed towards her shed, only stopping to do a quick lizard check when they passed a rock. Sam glanced nervously at Jane, who had said nothing more. She was looking at Sonny's strange two-legged loping gait, her mouth hanging open. As they came to a small rise, beyond which lay the path to Sonny's shed, Maylie appeared. She was running and looked panicked. When she saw Sonny, she gave a loud, glad cry of "Sonny!" and slowed to a puffing walk. Sonny ran to her, but received her strokes rather coldly. Maylie had stopped dropping kisses on her head. Even she felt it was a bit risky to put her face so close to the razor-sharp teeth. "Why is she out?" Sam demanded urgently. "Peter slept late today, but I woke up early and went to visit Thunny. I got her some eggs. But when I opened the door, she ran out and she ran away. I lost her. I've been looking and looking. Hello, Janie." She beamed up at her, dimples flashing sweetly. Jane gave her a hug, but said nothing. She was transfixed by Sonny. They walked Sonny back to her shed. She'd worked up an appetite during her morning's activities and went in to eat the eggs Maylie had brought, which Sam put out in a tempting line-up, cunningly laid to draw her deeper and deeper into the room. They watched her crunch and eat the first 2 eggs, by which time she was far enough in for them to slam the door and pile up the rocks. "It's funny Peter didn't come," Sam said. "Peter was sick this morning, so he stayed in bed," Maylie said. "That's why he was sleeping." Sam glanced nervously at Jane, but she said nothing, just turned back to walk with him and Maylie to the farm. There was a silence, broken eventually by Jane saying in a belligerent, determined voice, "That is not a lizard." "No," Maylie said agreeably. "Thunny is not a lizard. Thunny is a dinosaur." Sam closed his eyes for a few seconds. There was no way back now. "Where'd you get that dinosaur?" He grabbed Jane's arm and said urgently, "I'll tell you what happened, but you have to promise on your life that you will never, ever tell another soul, especially a grown-up." Jane's eyes bulged with curiosity and excitement. I promise, tell me." Sam sighed and began reluctantly. "Well, it all began when Peter and I went hunting for fossils on the disappearing hill." He told the story of the stone and their travels as they walked back to the farmhouse. Jane was silent, enthralled. She wouldn't have believed it, but there was Sonny, living proof of the incredible tale. "I need a cup of tea," Sam said weakly when they got home, thinking that he felt and sounded like an old lady. The strains of keeping tabs on Sonny was making him old before his time. Jane was dying to see the stone and to try it out. "It's just like the Narnia books and Harry Potter." "Yes," Sam said, "but the difference is this is really real. We went back to real times and places that existed millions of years ago." "I want to go with you," Jane said, her eyes shining brightly. "Please, please, please, can we go?" "Well, actually, we're thinking of taking Sonny back to her time," Sam said hesitantly. Maylie's eyes filled with tears. "No, this is Sonny's home." "But Maylie, it's getting too dangerous for her and for the other animals," Sam said urgently. "Look at how she bit Phoebe, and Phoebe is a friend. Imagine if the chickens had been out. And she might bite us. She's starting to get very aggressive when it comes to food. She might suddenly stop following us and listening to us and become uncontrollable. And look at these pictures. Sam got up and came back with a book which had pictures of Triassic and Jurassic carnivores. Look how huge and fierce they are. They're basically monsters. Sunny is going to be as big as a cow or a horse, or maybe even a lot bigger. If anyone else sees her, they'll shoot her or keep her in a cage in a zoo. She'll hate that. But I love her, Maylie sobbed. Sam swallowed a lump in his throat. Maylie's sadness was catching, and he also loved Sunny, in an increasingly scared kind of way. Just think, you already saved her when you saved the egg. Now you'll be saving her life a second time by taking her to a place she can live safely with her own family. Her other mother must be really missing her, he added manipulatively. I know it's hard, but we can't keep her safe here. Yes, Jane said, putting her arm comfortingly around Maylie, and you can go and visit her and say hello all the time. Sam glared at her. He didn't want such crazy ideas put into Maylie's head, but on the other hand, it stopped her tears and got Maylie to be more accepting of the plan. Let's go and see what Peter says, Sam suggested. They found Peter in bed, looking pale and sweaty. He said he had a tummy bug and was feeling terrible. His mother had put him to bed with some dry toast and pot tea, both of which lay untouched beside him. All he really wanted to do was sleep. When they told him about the chickens, he agreed that it had become a matter of urgency to take Sunny back. Go without me, he added, closing his eyes. I just need to sleep. Jane can stand in for me. Maylie began to sob. Peter opened his eyes. We have to do it sooner rather than later, Maylie. Chasing the chickens might have been the end of her. Also, she needs to be young enough to get used to her world. Yes, she has to adapt to the Jurassic, Jane said rather bossily, but she put her arms around Maylie and gave her a hug. Now that Jane was in the know, it became easier for Sam to deal with the situation. They took some more meat from the freezer while their mothers were talking in the lounge and walked back to Sunny. Sam and Maylie were used to Sunny's yaps, but Jane winced and put her hands over her ears. Ouch, what an awful sound. She always does that when she's excited. I think she hears us and knows she's going to be fed, Sam said. They opened the door and Sunny came rushing out. She ate the meat with frantic enthusiasm and then started walking at a fast pace to the nearest rock. She was beginning to be much more independent. Sam turned to the others. I'm going to fetch the stone. You keep an eye on Sunny so long. Try and get her to the hill. You know, where the fossil is, Maylie. Jane's eyes shone. Do we need to take anything on with us when we go? Must I get anything like food or water? No, Sam said. We'll just drop and go. It's really not very safe there. Once we know Sunny is settled okay, we'll come straight home. But can't we even explore a bit? Jane asked. She was an easygoing girl, but as the only child of doting parents, she was used to getting her own way. No, Sam said patiently. You'll see when we get there. You can't take too much of it. He couldn't find the words to describe the otherness and strangeness of the prehistoric worlds they had visited. It was exhilarating, terrifying, and exhausting, all rolled into one. For the next 20 minutes, the girls roamed about with Sunny. They discovered that a good way to get her to follow them was to lift up rocks and pretend to be looking for lizards. Sunny would come running over to see if they'd turned up a yummy delicacy. They were halfway up the disappearing hill when Sam arrived puffing. Did you get the magic stone? Jane asked. Can I see it? Wait till we're at the top, Sam said. We have to be careful. We're not really sure how it works. They reached the top of the hill and stopped to drink some water. It was getting close to midday and the sun was baking hot. Sam had bought a big steak for Sunny, so she can have a really good feed and not get hungry for a while after she gets back, he said. They sat and watched the small dinosaur tearing into the meat with her razor-sharp teeth. When she was finished, they all collected around the fossil and held hands tightly. Sam waved the sausage he'd bought especially for the occasion. Sunny adored sausage. Here, Sunny, he said enticingly. Always open to treats, the well-fed dinosaur waddled over and grabbed it. Sam gripped her tail firmly and called out, I wish we were all back in the place where Maylie found Sunny, 5 weeks on from the time we were last there. Please join us next week for Chapter 7, Home to the Herd.